everybody, welcome to another show. You ought to know Jim Hall, and I'm in the city of Rialto, California, here in San Bernardino County. And the place that I'm at today has a long history that dates back all the way to 1949. That's when this establishment was built. If you take a look behind me, it looks like teepees. Well, you're not seeing things, that's what it is. We're here at the Wigwam Motel on Foothill Boulevard in the city of Rialto. A long history that affiliates with Route 66, travelers from around the world coming to California, and a gentleman by the name of Frank Redford. And we're going to talk about that and more on this show, simply because you ought to know. Stay with us, everybody. We're going to be right back with a great show in Rialto. Welcome back, everybody. Jim Hall, you ought to know, and I'm on Foothill Boulevard in the city of Rialto. Route 66 is where we are, and we're at a place that has a long history. In fact, the history goes back so many years. We're going to talk about some of the history. We're at the Wigwam Motel here on Foothill Boulevard, and with me, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Manoj Patel, and this is a family business, and I'm the son here, and we brought this place back to life.
Well, let's talk about the life of this thing, because you did bring it back to life. Now, the family owns the motel. When did the Patel family buy the Wigwam?
It's been about 5 years, so about 2003.
Now, what was it like when you got here? When you bought this, what did it all look like here?
It was pretty bad. It was worn down, paint was bad, landscaping was dead, it was really dirty, poor.
So you've done a lot of work to it. A lot of painting's been done, a lot of new carpeting's been done, the interiors have been redone, but that's only part of it, because this thing, the history of this, of course, the teepees are always fascinating to people. Can that be a real room, and what would it be like to sleep in that? Then we're going to get to see that too. We're going to go in and take a look around. But what was it like having to renovate this whole area here that you got?
It was a major project. It was one thing at a time. It took about 2 years to get it looking like this, to looking like what it looks like today. A lot of work. We took it slowly.
Now, your parents are involved. Do they work here at the business, or are they semi-retired? Where are they at?
They do work there. They work part-time. Everyone helps out. Even the grandfather, he helps out. So it's like 3 generations that's helping out here.
But you're actually here running the thing day to day, aren't you?
Yeah, for most of the day.
I stopped in to visit with you some time back, and got a chance to look around and look at some of the rooms. I actually went inside. First time I've ever done that. I've stopped by a few times, but went in the rooms and took a look around. How many visitors do you normally get here in any given month?
I'd say at least 100. Just stopping in, taking a look, wanting to take photos and see what it's like. They'll ask about rates, reservations, and...
Well, everybody's fascinated always by the look, number one.
Yeah,
and what did this used to be, or what is this?
It's a family fun roadside attraction. These kinds of things were built years back, and it was a way to bring in families and get people to pull in.
Well, let's take a look around here. As we look at these units, I have a little bit of homework that I've done, and let's walk over here by some of them. The homework that I did tells me that there were originally 7 of the motels built in the United States. There were 7 of these built, right?
Correct, 7 of them. Now there's only 3. There's this one in Arizona, and a 3rd one in Kentucky, which is where Kentucky is where the chain kind of started out originally.
Now, I mentioned in the opening of the show a gentleman by the name of Frank Redford. And Frank is the guy in Cave City, Kentucky, right? Yes. And he was responsible for all these coming about.
He was responsible for the design, and it was the design took off, and he got investors were interested. So, and I think that's one of the ways that he was able to grow and expand. I mean, there was only 7 built, but this was over 50 years ago.
He built the first one, I think, what was that, 1934 and 33?
Right around there, yeah, early 30s.
And this one came about in 1949.
Yes, 1949.
And there's 3 left, as you mentioned, Cave City, Kentucky, and Frank's home is in that area.
Yes.
And then Holbrook, Arizona, and here we are in Rialto, California.
Yes, that's right.
Now, are all of them affiliated with Route 66?
Only 2 of them are. We are, and the one in Arizona, 66.
Now, you play into that fairly well because there was a lot of history, still is a lot of history, and people still travel the route. In fact, there's excursions, people here as we're talking, doing this show today, that have traveled Route 66 from Chicago into the Los Angeles area, and here they are in Rialto, and they've actually stopped by to get some pictures, and they have things going on, don't they?
They always do. They like it. It's a road trip. They're able to get a feel of what American history was all about by taking these road trips, and to get a feel of where America.
Well, America was early on about the motor car. Even before that, it was about the train. But then people started driving, and Route 66 became that main route, and people had to have places to stay, and that's when the motel came about.
Yeah, it was like a road to freedom. It was a way to bring families out to the West and in search of new opportunities.
Well, let's take a look at a couple of the we're not going to go inside yet. We're going to save that, but
Okay.
let's look at the outside a little bit of a couple of the units. In fact, let's talk about the design. Ruben, I'm going to have you swing around over here behind us so I can get out here by the teepee. Am I referring to it right? It is a teepee. Wigwam.
Wigwam or teepee. I've looked it up, and one of the words has a definition that says it's a conical shape, and then the other one is like a hut shape. So it's a dwelling or something like that.
Okay. Well, these dwellings, got it, are made of wood with concrete and stucco. So there's 3 elements here when these were built.
That's right. It's got a wood foundation, stucco, and yeah, it's just basic stuff.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about the teepees or wigwams. We're going to talk more about the Wigwam Motel, which is here on Route 66, Foothill Boulevard in Rialto. And we're going to invite you to come down, take a look, and even get a chance to stay here at the motel, because you can actually come down and you can stay here for the night, rent yourself a motel room, right?
Yeah, it's a wigwam or a teepee, something different, historic.
All right. So don't go anywhere, everybody. Why are we here? Simply because you ought to know. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody. Jim Hall, you ought to know. I'm at the Wigwam Motel and the home of the teepees here. Manoj Patel with me. Manoj, welcome back to the show.
It's good to have you here.
Well, tell us about, again, the family. You bought this in 2003, and it needed a lot of work when you got here. But you guys were willing to do that, and you saw the potential in the Route 66. This is a historic place.
It is. It's been here since 1949, and it's got to be around forever.
Well, it certainly does. I mean, cars are going to be forever. We're not going to get rid of cars. I don't care what anybody says, whether they're run on batteries, oil, corn oil, it doesn't water, doesn't matter. We're going to have cars, and as long as they are, people are going to drive Route 66, and there's always going to be history to it, isn't it?
Always.
Well, tell us a little bit now about. Wait a minute, I did more of my homework. Let me see if I got this right. On this particular site, is there 19 units?
There's a total of 19, 20 standing, including the one that's out front by the office.
Okay, so I did my homework. It told me 19 units that are here. They are 30 feet tall.
Yes, that's right, 30 feet tall. The diameters are a little different. The inner half ring are a little bit, the rooms are a little tighter. The ones around the back side are a little bit larger.
Okay, so we're actually on the back side. There's a front side and the grassy knoll and the pool area. Beautiful setting here. Palm trees. Now, did you have to bring in the palm trees, or were they here?
They were put, I don't know when they were planted, but they've been here for a while. The smaller ones were brought in, but the tall ones, they've been here for a while.
Now, how many events do you get a year in here where the cars roll in? I mean, it looks like a car show when they all get in here.
It's about 2 to 3. We're working on it. The city of San Bernardino holds a big car show, and that helps.
Oh, sure, the Route 66 in September every year, but you guys must get a lot of people that want to come and stay right here.
We do. The word is still spreading that the place is now cleaned up and it's family friendly, and so it takes a while, but we're working on it.
Did it have a reputation at all in the 80s and the 70s, or that maybe you don't want to stay there?
Yeah, it did, and it was even closed for a while. The place was mismanaged. It was just bad.
Well, it certainly is not mismanaged now, and it certainly does look like a show place. In fact, it looks like you want to, when you travel Route 66, you're going to want to come. Now, I told you probably want to come spend the night and check out a motel room here. You can do it. They can actually come and stay in one of the rooms.
Yes, they can. We do reservations, and we're online at wigwammotel.com.
Okay. Wigwammotel.com, and you can do a reservation online?
Yeah, you can. We have a, it's a older method, but it's possible.
Okay, otherwise we can call, or we can drop in, like the old motel. Yeah. There were no cell phones back then. It was drop in, look at the vacancy sign, and get yourself a room, right?
That's pretty much how it was.
Let's talk about the amenities here. If a family wants to come in and stay, what's here? What's in the rooms?
Each room is equipped with your basic essentials, like you just everything that a traveler would need, like a bed, shower, toilet, sink, refrigerator, television, heater, shower.
Well, that's certainly more than what they got in 1949, because I know all the rooms didn't have televisions.
No, I'm not sure exactly, and I don't think they were refrigerated, air cooled. They must have been water cooled.
Now, it does have little windows. In fact, Ruben, if you kind of just pan over to the left, there's a wigwam right next to us over there, and you can see the side windows, and you can see the air conditioning unit out there. And as I mentioned, 30 feet tall these units are. And we're going to go into one and take a look here in just a moment, because when we go inside, you're not going to believe that the inside matches the outside. It's not what you think at all.
It's totally different. We need to maybe work on some of the motif, but we've got it to where it's a good starting point, a stepping stone for us to kind of work with and go with.
Oh, well, I was going to go the other direction, because to me it looks like like I'm walking into one of the motel rooms up at the Venetian or something. No. The high, comfortable bed, a sofa in there. It's not what I would consider. I was expecting the rug on the floor and the old teepee style of actually kind of camping it rough. It's not that way at all. It's kind of nice.
It is. And that's, maybe we should bring it, take it back to the old days and just keep it simple. But
bring your sleeping bags, get them out of the trunk, come on in and spend the night.
Yeah, right.
Okay, that won't work. Come on in, everybody. We're going to take a look around. Let's go in and talk about this now. Manoj, when we talk about the rooms, and here comes the camera. Come on up here with me. And we got a couple campers in here already. In the room, Ruben, we can let you go ahead and pan around, and as you do, you kind of get the feel. You can see the cylindrical shape of the room, which makes up the wigwam or the teepee. But as you notice, couch, the high bed, the refrigerator, even air conditioning, of course, the television. And I mean, it's a full-service motel room, but it's very nice. It's a nice motel room.
Well, we're limited service, but it's got a little bit more than what like a Motel 6 might have, I think. I'm not positive, but...
Well, this is the place for people to come down and have a good time. I mean, you do have the park-like setting, you do have the pool. This is not the place where you're coming to stay in your room all day anyway.
No, it's totally different. People that stay here, they're more adventurous and they're outgoing, and it's a different crowd.
Well, right behind me, large bathroom back in here. So we've got the bathroom, the shower, the high raised bed, and as I mentioned, the refrigerator, television, and so on, and plenty of room. So if you're bringing the young ones down with you as well, they certainly will have a good time right here at the Wigwam Motel. Now give us the address. Tell us where we are.
We're at 2728 West Foothill Boulevard in the city of Rialto. Well, actually, we're in the city of San Bernardino, California, 92410.
Yeah, it started out, and I was looking at that, it actually started out in the city of San Bernardino, but then it kind of changed with the relationship and the boundaries with Rialto, so we're really San Bernardino, but they call it Rialto. It depends on who you're talking to, but that's where we are. We're on Foothill Boulevard, which is old Route 66.
Right.
All right. Don't go anywhere, everybody. We've got more. We're going to talk more right here at the Wigwam Motel on Foothill Boulevard, Route 66. And why? Simply because, you ready? You ought to know. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody. Jim Hall, You Ought to Know, on Foothill Boulevard in San Bernardino, or Rialto, depends on how you look at it. That's where we are. We're at the Wigwam Motel. I'm here with Manoj Patel. Manoj is the manager here, but involved, it's a whole family deal, isn't it?
It is. There's 3 generations, my grandparents, my parents, and myself.
Now, refresh our memory. How did you get involved in this, and why did you get involved in this? And you grew up in the area, right?
I grew up in the area. This was something that I've always seen, and we've known about it, and the owner who used to own this place just let it go down, and he didn't want to sell it for years and years, and he decided to put it up for sale, and that's when my dad found out about it, and that's how it all started.
Now, with the people that come and go here, that visit the Wigwam, the grass started to look nice, there's plants, the pool was clean, the paint went on, the units started to look more attractive. People started stopping in, I would imagine.
They did, and we took baby steps. It took about 2 years to get it to looking like what it looks like now. And there's always things, it's continual. The continual improvements that...
Well, it's like any business. It's going to take upgrades, continual fixing that or upgrading this or doing whatever it takes, but you certainly made strides to get people to stop and take a look and stay here, right?
Yes, that's right.
Now, you got people coming from all over the country, and even the world to see the famous Wigwam Motel, right?
Yes, Germany, Japan, Australia, Canada, United States. People that are just in different states will come out and do 66.
Now, you got quite a background, because I know you've done some homework on this. We talked a little bit when I stopped in before we were talking about doing this show. And you've done a little bit of the homework on the history of Route 66 and the Wigwam and everybody that traveled here. What'd you find out?
I found out that there's a lot of interest, and it's all about preservation. And Route 66 was one of the original highways. This was before the interstate, so it was a big deal. People have childhood memories.
Well, they certainly do. And I know a lot of them grew up in the backseat of the cars with their parents driving to see the world, head for California, see what there is to see, or head back east to Chicago, whatever it may be. But they were on the road, and they were on the route. And this was one of the main highways here in Southern California, and this was certainly one of the hot spots to stay at. And people like to hang on to that, don't they?
They do. They hate to see it go away. So much is going away nowadays.
Well, this certainly won't go away, because you guys are dedicated to making this stay here, preserving this.
Correct. And we're thinking about even having it listed on the National Registry of Historic.
Well, that would have been my next question. Is it already as registered?
No, it's not. The other 2 are. We've been approached by the National Park Service, who handles that, and they've okayed it.
So if they've okayed it and it becomes registered, does that mean it's here forever?
I'm pretty sure it'll be here forever.
Okay. Well, it certainly could lead to that, and people would hate to see it go away. Now, you got some crazy Route 66 people out there, those fanatics, those buffs. What is it like when they all get here around the Wigwam?
There's a lot of energy. They're a different bunch. It's just they could care less about some of the more important things in life, and just it's preservation and history is what it's all about.
Well, and it is. Would you go as far as to say they live in the past, or they just relish the past and they want to make sure it doesn't disappear?
I think they just relish it and just hope that it never goes away, and they do spend a lot of their time, a lot of time and efforts into preserving, working with preservation groups. And
well, we talked about the fact there are 3 of these. They built 7 originally, but there are 3 left. Holbrook, Arizona, and then of course Cave City, Kentucky, which is not on Route 66, but Holbrook is, and so is this one right here on Foothill Boulevard. And Frank Redmond was the guy, right?
Frank Redford.
Redford. Frank Redford was the guy. Why? Because you ought to know.
Yes.
Frank Redford, like Robert Redford, except Frank. And Frank had a history to him, and you learned a lot about him. Tell me something unique about Frank.
He was like a type A person. He was innovative, thought outside the box, and he did some traveling and worked overseas. And when he got back to his home state, he had this calling to do something. So he was an entrepreneur at an early age.
Well, and he did something, because he saw something here. He saw something in that vision, and this started back in the 1930s.
It did. He saw the way he came up with this idea is that he bumped into this wigwam-shaped restaurant in Long Beach, and he got the idea of doing a motel, restaurant, gas station type of deal, and that's what he did back home. He built a full service.
Well, let's tie into the Indian culture just for a minute. Are you ever approached by groups that want to come out and do anything here? Do you ever have dances? Is there tribal things that happen here? I don't know. I'm just asking.
No, this is all new, but I wanna go, and I'm gonna go after it and get natives involved. This is something that they can associate with.
Well, and they could certainly educate a public here. This would be a perfect setting. I mean, the park experience here, the beautiful rolling mounds, the wigwams, the teepees are here, the pool is here, and boy, you could certainly gather a large lot of families with a lot of kids, and they could learn, couldn't they?
Yes, they can. I've thought about contacting some of the high school teachers and seeing if they'd want to bring their classes out.
That would certainly be an experience. Now give us a phone number where people can call you right here.
They can call 909-875-3005, and that's us here at the motel.
All right. Well, we are here, Route 66, and it's the Wigwam Motel. And the sign actually got wind damaged. It got really windy here, but there's going to be signs going back up. And we got some pictures, some historic pictures that you're seeing during the show. And it even has some cute slogans to it. I'm going to let you look at those when we put them online, and you'll be able to watch the show on our internet site at odysseytv.org anytime. Just go to You Ought to Know archives, and you'll be able to see your favorite shows, including this one. Manoj, thank you for being with us. Super show. It's been a pleasure being here, and good luck with the Wigwam Motel.
Thanks for supporting us.
Oh, you bet. All right, why are we here? At the Wigwam Motel on Highway Route 66. It's Route 66. And why are we here today? Well, as always, you ought to know. Well, hey, everybody, that's going to put the wraps on another show. Jim Hall, You Ought to Know. Here in the city of Rialto, we're on Route 66 at the Wigwam Motel, a history dating back all the way to 1949 when they built this. 19 units, and we learned a little bit about them. They're 30 feet high, and, of course, they've all been upgraded. The Patel family bought the Wigwam in 2003. It's been completely upgraded, park-like setting out here, and of course the history of Route 66. A lot of people travel the route, bring their classic cars, come out for the car shows, and even stop in for the night and have a great time. And you can do that too. Call the Wigwam Motel here in Rialto, and you can bring the family and experience what it was like on old Route 66. I'm Jim Hall. Why are we here? Simply because you ought to know. See you next time, everybody.